or maybe you could just kind of let the audience know, like, what's going on with Blue Grit? What is it? What, how is it going? What do you want people to take away from it or know about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, man. So where I started, like I said, was more towards health, like the obvious aspects of health, fitness, nutrition, things I was really interested in. And then it bled into, talking about sleep, right? Because that was just something I learned about. But as I continued on, right, this was essentially trying to be positive platform for law enforcement for just tips, but then also introduce some of this behind the badge notion, right? A little bit of like the humanization, because I shared anecdotes of how frustrated I felt like post Floyd, and I spoke to a lot of officers, right? And so publicly, it gave a lot of officers confidence that someone was saying these things that, like, hey, we feel dejected too, we feel demoralized too, but the majority of us are still here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our friends are leaving or have left. We don't blame them, but we're here and we're going to do the best damn job we can, right? And so just to try to project this positive image, try to invite conversation, right? To bridge, not be defensive. So it's been multi-pronged, but essentially one, like, my motto is better cops, better community, because we are one and the same. We are of the community, and we don't know how long we have in this job, right? So if it's an unhealthy lifestyle and you retire and you croak the next month, there's like the one thing, right? I could go 5 more years in this job and get involved in a critical incident. I could lose my life. I could get hit by a car tomorrow, right? Like, these adages of just what are we bringing in, and that we all have a choice. And I think for everyone that's here, it's not everyone that's like fully committed, right? But like, let's like take a vote and do what with it the best we can, because I don't truly know whether I have 2 or 20 years left in this job. That depends on so many things that I can't anticipate. But what I can control is my life and like the inputs I put into it, right? I don't know what's going to happen in my life, but I can control what I put in my body. I can control the media I consume. I can control the conversations or what I bring to those conversations with people I love, people I work with, people I hate, people that are trolls, like whatever that is. Like, I have a vote. And so just trying to share those as I perceive, like, pillars of wellness, right? And that's where my podcast has grown in Blue Grit Radio, and that's bringing in law enforcement to talk about their career and their why, their purpose, but also industry leaders like
Mm-hmm.
such as yourself and other health and wellness speakers, other professionals in whatever aspect of leadership, authors, right? Just we all have something to contribute, and so it's just from those conversations we can all be encouraged just to get a little bit better.
Man, I love it, and I'm so encouraged by the platforms that you've chosen to do that on. And again, like when I started to search, I found very little to nothing, in terms of in particular, how are our first responders being supported in sort of these pillars that you're talking about. And man, I'm pretty connected, like in the health and fitness, world. And it was tough. It was really tough. And what I've watched is an evolution, which has been awesome to watch in that evolution, because there's opportunity, right? There's opportunity to sell products and programs and things like that. Sometimes you're going to find charlatans, and you're going to find people that are just trying to make a buck. And they generally don't last very long, because in general, most police officers would be looking to better for themselves, have a pretty good sniffer, right? And when they get into this stuff, they recognize pretty quick, like, oh, that was bullshit. That's pretty stinky. I don't want to have anything to do with that. But they kind of come and go. But over time, what people have done, like you, is found a way to use the platform like podcasting, and as much as they can with social media, given how it can be throttled, depending on what type of content you're trying to put out there or whatever. But particularly podcasting, blog writing is still a thing. People are like, or article writing is still a thing. And
Yep.
in contribution, people think that stuff's dead. It isn't dead. The most successful people I know at getting their message across use email, social media, multiple social media platforms. They use YouTube. They use all the, they're using the podcasting because it goes long form, and it's a very, very specific audience. So it's exciting when I watch guys like you do what you're doing in the way that you're doing it, because there is such a gap there and there's such an opportunity. But more exciting about that is the intention that you have behind doing it. And that, this is not something that just came up for you, and it seems like a cool thing to do because you have nothing better to do and you're trying to be famous. It's coming from a place where what you just described there was, look, it's a tough time, right? And it's a tough job. It always has been, and it's a tough time, and they're probably not going to get any easier. And a lot of people have left it because of poor attitudes or just loss of hope or just can be been completely disenfranchised. And that's sad, especially when those are good cops that are leaving doing that. We've lost cops. They've been fired for not, towing the line on certain things and whatever. And that makes me sad when I look at it. But to hear what you said about those other guys that are going, you know what, like we're still here and we're still working hard. And those are the guys that I know.
Hmm.
And, any support that they can get in any way that you can not spin it, but give the other side of what's going on inside law enforcement, particularly in your case, I think is really, really important. Again, some of my dearest friends share the exact same sentiments, and they're just as frustrated, and they haven't quite reached wits end yet. But all of them are very positive people. They're all, when I call them up or they call me, I'm like, "How you doing, man?" Like, man, I'm blessed. I just could be,
Mm,
there could be a lot of things going on, but I just, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm doing the things that I need to do to take care of my family and myself. And it always starts like that.
yeah.
Um, and, the guys that are struggling are guys that are, have other things going on. We all have that stuff going on, other things going on, whether it's finances or, relationships or whatever else. Um, but if you entered into that problem or already negative and already in an unhealthy physical, psychological, or emotional state, chances of you coming out of there anytime soon are pretty low. So the stuff that you provide is pretty cool, and I appreciate what you're doing.
No, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it too.